Hey friends, welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday. I just dropped my brother, sister-in-law, and niece off at the airport, and since I was out, I'm kind of having a little bit of a morning alone without the kids, a little bit of a morning off. So I dropped them off, and our old house is right by the airport area, and so I decided to just come over to a park that we used to come to all the time, when we lived over here, and film Wellness Wednesday. So in this Wellness Wednesday video, I wanted to give you yet another update on how I'm doing with my SIBO protocol, and also how I'm doing 1 week in adding in the Reuteri yogurt. I talked to you guys about that last week, and then I also put up the recipe video for it just a few days ago. Last week, I told you that my digestion was in a really rough spot. It was in the I really hope this is the it gets worse before it gets better phase. It was worse than before I started the SIBO protocol. So I knew that was a possibility and not something to be super concerned about, just because you're really, rallying everything up in your gut when you're trying to kill, the bad guys, the stuff that's in the wrong spot. So I was just trying to push through. I try really hard when I share about diets or protocols or supplements or anything like that. When I share about them, I try my best to give you guys as many grains of salt to take with the information I'm giving you as possible. I don't ever want to hype something up and make blanket statements about, how incredible something is, or that it has this effect for everybody. I just try to be really careful about that, because everybody's different. Every body is different. What helps one person may hurt somebody else. And so when I talk to you about what I'm about to talk to you about, I want to make sure that you are taking all the grains of salt with what I am saying. So just keep that in mind. About a week ago, I started taking the Reuteri yogurt. My digestion was in a terrible spot at that point. Just lots and lots of bloating, digestive upset, diarrhea, all the stuff. More than I normally experience, even before the SIBO protocol. I started taking the Reuteri yogurt. Within 48 hours, my digestion took a 180. Completely changed. My bloating has gone away. My digestion feels very similar to the way it feels when I go full carnivore. I've described that before as I forget I have a digestive system. It's just humming along so smoothly that I don't even think about it. When my digestion is, in a rough place, it's always on the forefront of my mind, because there's always something, uncomfortable going on. So I want to give you the grains of salt of, it could be that in my SIBO killing protocol, I was just kind of right at that turning point where things were about to start to get better. And it just so happened to align with when I started eating the yogurt. That's totally a possibility. And I want to keep that in mind. I don't want to say the yogurt healed me and it's magic food, even though I joke about it being magic. It's a joke. I'm, hyping it up as a joke. Anyways, so I don't want to just say the yogurt cured me, but I will say that the timing correlates for when my digestion, went from pretty bad and rough to very, very good within 48 hours. So at this point, as far as the yogurt goes, I see a lot of reasons to continue using it. Now, I also historically have had a rough time with yogurt, tolerating yogurt. I tend to tolerate cream, sour cream, cheese a little bit better, and yogurt has historically been something that I have not tolerated as well. But this yogurt, and actually I've learned that it's not technically a yogurt. I don't know how, what makes it not technically a yogurt. It's classified as a fermented dairy, similar to how kefir is a fermented dairy and not a yogurt. So anyways, there's some reason for that, which I don't really know. But at this point, I have no reason to stop taking the Reuteri fermented dairy. I have a lot of reason to continue. So I'm definitely going to be continuing. The one big bummer about this fermented dairy is that it makes the Air 2 device that I talked about last week, it makes the readings from that, it gives a false positive. on the Air 2 device because it's a rare probiotic that colonizes your small intestine, where most of them colonize your large intestine. And so that's one of the reasons that it's great for SIBO, because it colonizes the small intestine and helps push out and rebalance and get rid of the bad stuff that's not supposed to be there. So that's a good thing that it's colonizing the small intestine, but it also produces hydrogen gas. So it gives a false positive on the Air device because there is the hydrogen gas there, but it's not doing all the bad things that when the bacteria that's not supposed to be there is producing the hydrogen gas. So anyways, that's kind of a bummer because I was really excited about being able to test, my progress with the Air 2 device. And basically you have to stop eating the yogurt for 10 days to 2 weeks before you can get a true real reading on your Air 2 device. So that's a super big bummer, especially when, you're feeling like this yogurt is helping. To have to stop it for 2 weeks to try to get a good reading is kind of a bummer. So that's the only bummer. But as far as like how I'm feeling and stuff, like I am so happy. And then on top of that, it's so delicious. I love yogurt. Like seriously, one of my favorite foods. So anyways, I've been eating it a couple of times a day, feeling like I am getting positive benefits from it. Still taking it with a grain of salt though, just kind of being patient, watching my body. It's definitely fall. The leaves are falling. It's kind of fun. Anyways, I still have about 2 weeks left of my antimicrobial SIBO killing protocol. So I'm going to go through that. I had thought that, I wanted to test with the Air 2 at that point to see where my levels are at. And then after about 2 weeks of a break, start another round because my gas levels were high enough that I probably will have to do 2 rounds. But I don't want to stop the yogurt for 2 weeks. Like that's just a bummer. So I'm kind of debating what I want to do. It's a very loud bird. Just kind of debating what I want to do about that. I still have a couple of weeks to decide. All right, so that was kind of an update on where I'm at with my protocol and, update with the yogurt and how I'm feeling. Next, that bird is very loud. Next, I wanted to answer a question that I got in a comment recently, and I will pop it down here because I don't remember who it was from. But it did get me thinking, and I thought it was a great question. I thought I would rather answer it on a video for everybody. So the question is basically, how does the SIBO diagnosis change your keto journey? Which I think is a really good question. So when I first got diagnosed with SIBO, my thinking was that I was going to have to become more strictly carnivore, actually. Not necessarily to do with keto, but just more strictly carnivore, cutting out things like garlic and onions and more like all the vegetables. I was worried that I was going to have to quit taking my athletic greens, which I felt like I had, such a good response to. But it has, some green powder in there, some vegetable powder. It has a tiny bit of inulin, just so tiny that I didn't even have a digestive issue with it when I took it. But with SIBO, if you're trying to starve the SIBO, which is actually pretty difficult to do, you do want to get all of that fiber, like anything that could possibly feed it, you have to get it out for a certain period of time. It's debatable, like depending on what diet you choose and such. So I was thinking I was going to have to go more strict. But then as I started researching more and kind of decided on the route of the antimicrobials, I learned that actually you don't want to go more strict and less fiber when you are doing the killing protocol rather than the starving protocol. I heard from Mark Pimentel, who is a leader in the SIBO field, that he wouldn't recommend going below 100 grams of carbs per day when you're doing the antimicrobials and killing the SIBO. And it was funny because I heard him say that like after I had already ordered the supplements and I had already decided that that was the route I was going to take. And so I heard that and I was like, oh dear, because I'm not super excited about going up to 100 grams of carbs a day. I'd say that right now I'm somewhere, or before my SIBO protocol started, I was probably somewhere between 10 and 30 to 40 grams of carbs per day total. So going up to 100 was just not something I was super excited about. And I just decided that I was gonna continue on the antimicrobial path and keep my carbs about where they were, maybe increase them a little bit. Like I told you guys, I've been trying to be more intentional about having some vegetables every day. I've been continuing to take my athletic greens, which has a little bit of fiber in it. I've just been careful not to go too far on the carnivore side, which is pretty easy for me because I do enjoy having some vegetables. So as far as my keto journey, I don't think it affects it dramatically. Of course, I'm going to have to see like where I'm at after all of the, SIBO killing phase and everything, and make some decisions after that, because there is that study that I mentioned a few Wellness Wednesdays ago about how carnivore can be an effective SIBO treatment. If you go really strict carnivore, no dairy, I think probably no spices. They said you could have like black coffee and butter. I think that was the only dairy, but pretty much just meat, butter, black coffee, maybe black tea, and do that for like 6 weeks. That seems to be a fairly effective way to kill SIBO, although that was a very small study and more research needs to be done, of course. There's been so much research done on the antimicrobials with way more people than were in the carnivore study. So it seems promising, but that's one of the reasons that I picked the antimicrobials, is because it's just been used for a long time now by some, really smart people. And it just seemed like the best way to go, because I wasn't super excited about going super strict carnivore either. So anyways, if I go through all of this and I don't feel like the antimicrobial protocol has treated the SIBO effectively enough, if I have, bad relapse or anything like that, then I could possibly go down the route of doing a very strict carnivore diet at that point. That's like in my back pocket. Like I could do that anytime. That would be something pretty easy to do at the right time of the year. Certain times of the year are very difficult for me to do that kind of thing, but if it was the right 6 weeks, I could probably make it happen. So anyways, that's something that could, change my keto journey in the future. But I just kind of need to put my head down and finish up the protocol that I'm on, get an idea of where I'm at and if I'm making progress. If I am making progress, I don't see any reason to switch. I think the biggest thing that I have changed, which is surprising to me, is that I've been adding more carbohydrates. I actually, after I started feeling so much better after having the yogurt, we had a family get together this weekend, and I decided to use it as a challenge day and ate some things that normally really would mess my digestion up. I handled them unbelievably. I was shocked. Because I have not been able to eat these kinds of foods without like having the massive bloat and the digestive issues the next day. And I'm not going to say that there was nothing. Like I definitely had a few digestive responses to it, but it was so minimal. It was shocking to me. So just the idea that there is a possibility to heal and to reverse some of these food sensitivities that I've had, that I just thought that's just how I am, that is super exciting. So it's possible, after going through this, if I am able to really eradicate the SIBO, that maybe my diet will be more expanded. I don't see myself going off of keto, much. I mean, I already go off of keto. You guys know that I'm not one that tries to stay 100% strict all the time. I have special, meals with family and stuff. But, there's the possibility that I could eat salads and Brussels sprouts and all of these delicious keto foods that I had really minimized, at least minimized, if not completely cut out of my diet. It's possible. Maybe I could eat peanut butter again. Like, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. So I think that's that's how the SIBO diagnosis is affecting my keto journey. And I'm super excited because, like I said, I just thought a lot of these things were just how I am. Like, I just can't handle Lily's chocolate chips that have inulin in them. Like, just my body is sensitive to it. But if the SIBO protocols and the people behind them are to be believed, you actually can heal. You actually, like the inulin test that I talked about last week that I did from Dr. Davis, where you take 2 teaspoons of inulin. I told you last week, that was before I started eating the yogurt. Within 30 minutes, I was feeling it, which means my small intestine has bacteria in there eating the inulin it's not supposed to be there. So anyways, I'm going to do the inulin test again at some point and see if my digestion can handle it now that I've had the yogurt. Maybe after 2 or 3 weeks eating the yogurt, I might try that inulin test again and just see what my symptoms are. But it's like opening up this new world of ideas. Like, is it possible that I could heal to the point that I could expand my keto diet? I've been in such a place for so many years of feeling like I needed to restrict more in order to heal. And so, like, the leaves are falling. And to have the possibility be that I could heal and add more to my diet is super exciting. So anyways, that's how my SIBO diagnosis is changing and possibly will change my keto journey. I think I'm going to leave it here for my Wellness Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing great, and I will see you again in the next one.